Welcome to Marilakshman Reddy Institute of Technology and Management. I will be discussing antennas and wave propagation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, done. So in the last class, we discussed what is wave propagation and what is ground wave propagation. Okay. So what is wave propagation? How the wave is transmitting from one place to another place. So mainly in our case, antennas, the medium is free space. So in free space also there are several ways to propagate the signal. Okay, electromagnetic waves. Okay, they are ground wave propagation, sky wave propagation, and space wave propagation. I have shown you the different frequencies which can be used in all three propagations. Ground wave propagation can be taken till 2 megahertz. After 2 megahertz to 300 megahertz, you can use for sky wave propagation, and beyond that, we can use for surface wave, not surface, space wave propagation. Okay, so that is what we discussed, and few other things. Okay, today we will be discussing main definitions of wave propagation, which is very important. It is asked many times. Okay, there are few definitions. Okay, so this is the second part of the unit 5, which is very important. Okay, so you can see the previous questions which are asked in March 2017. It is asked for 2 marks. What is skip distance? We'll be knowing what is skip distance. Okay, so then ninth one, you can see I have highlighted the questions which are we going to be discussed today. There is a problem asked for 2 marks. Find the maximum range of tropospheric for which the transmitting antenna height is 100 feet and receiving antenna height is 50 feet. The same question has been asked for 5 marks also, which is very easy actually. It is worth of 2 marks only, but it is asked for 5 marks. So you can see here. So these are the long answer questions. In long answer questions also, you can see the first one is the same question which is repeated again, given for 2 marks. We'll be finding this. Find the maximum range of tropospheric transmission for which height of transmitting antenna is 100 feet and that of receiving antenna is 50 feet. Okay, and write a short notes on virtual height, line of sight propagation, effect of Earth's curvature. Okay, so this is very important. 3 plus 4 plus 3 marks. Okay, line of sight propagation you might have studied in physics also in plus 1 plus 2. Also we'll be seeing the sixth question. Briefly explain the tropospheric propagation and multi-hop propagation. Explain the following terms with diagram: duct propagation and skip zone. Okay, so we'll see these questions. Next, we'll also see this. Seventh question is briefly describe the following terms connected with skywave propagation. So anyway, we'll be knowing about skywave propagation in the next lecture to be coming. But anyway, as per definitions, I'll be letting you know what is skywave propagation a little. Okay, so that you can understand the virtual height, critical frequency, maximum usable frequency, skip distance, etc. Okay, also there is a question 8b. Write a short notes on multi-hop propagation. Ninth one, explain in brief about following terms. Again, the same question. You can see critical frequency, MUF, maximum usable frequency, skip distance, virtual height. All these are repeated again. 10 marks you can score very easily. Okay. The first one, let us see virtual height. So what is the word mean virtual? Virtual means it's not real, right? So in the same way, when an electromagnetic wave is propagated into space, okay, so the ionized layer, what is ionized layer? Ionized layer, the name itself suggests that in that layer there will be ions present in it. How ions are formed in that layer in space? Due to the energy produced by sunlight, in that layer we'll be getting ions forming due to the sunlight UV rays. So that layer is called as ionized layer. There will be several partitions in ionized layer as well, which are D, E, F1, F2, like this. Okay, so that layer's height will be depending on several factors. So due to sunlight, more energy can be drawn by the ions, and height of the layer can be increased. So like that it happens. So we'll see that also in the next slides. So for now, what is virtual height? So virtual height means actual height of the transmitting electromagnetic wave is happening like this. So after it enters into the ionized layer here, okay, so it changes its angle of incidence. So angle of incidence is from here, okay. So if we take a normal like this, okay, the angle of incidence, the critical angle, we will also call it as critical angle here, the critical angle, okay. So it goes on like this, and it actually refracts in the ionized layer and come back to the ground like this. Okay, you can see the actual height. Okay, but this is the actual happening, but it looks like it is going to some other point in the ionized layer till here, and it is returning back like this. So this height is called as virtual height. We'll be taking this as virtual height. Okay, I'll explain in the next slide more detail. But it is actual height is only till here, from here to here. This is the transmitting antenna, and this is the receiving antenna, and this is ground surface. So this is the actual path, and this is the virtual path, projected path. Okay, this is the ionized layer. Did you understand what is virtual height? The definition is like this: when a wave is refracted, it is bent down gradually but not sharply. However, but according to the definition of virtual height, the path of incident wave and reflected wave are same if it is reflected from a surface at a greater height of the ionized layer. Okay, that greater height is termed as virtual height. The maximum height it is reaching in the ionized layer is called virtual height. So you can see the virtual height and actual height, which are differentiated in the figure. Okay, so if you know the virtual height, that is HV, the angle of incidence can be found. Okay, so how much angle it is incident with. So we can see here some problems which we have to do, which we can do. Okay, so if HV you need to find, if you know the speed of light or velocity of light, that is c, and the time taken by the wave, electromagnetic wave, to go from earth to reach the ionosphere layer and return back. So since it is covering 2 times here, okay, the time taken is 2 times. So that's why the formula is having divided by 2. So overall formula is HV equal to C into T by 2. Okay, velocity of light into time taken by the electromagnetic wave to go up and come back divided by 2. Okay, so if any factor is not given and other 2 factors are given, you can easily find the third factor. Okay, next maximum usable frequency. The maximum usable frequency is the highest frequency which can be delivered by the transmitter. So it will not depend on the transmitter power also. Okay, actually I told you the virtual height will vary according to several factors. One of the factors is power transmitting power. Okay, but this maximum usable frequency will not depend on the power transmitted. Okay, so it is the highest frequency deliverable by the transmitter, so that the wave will return back to the ground. So actually here you can see, so if the critical angle is more, okay, according to the normal, so if critical angle is more, the waves which are traveling like this, if it is having very high angle like this, so it will go into the space, it will not reflect back after hitting the ionized layer. So it reflects back when you decrease the frequency. Okay, as frequency goes beyond 300 megahertz, what happens? It goes to the space wave. Okay, space wave propagation. Sky wave propagation is limited till 300 megahertz. So it goes into the ionized layer and reflect back. If the frequency is increased, what happens? It skips the ionized layer and goes into the space. It will not return back. Okay, that comes under phase wave propagation. Okay, now come back to maximum usable frequency. So the maximum usable frequency is the highest frequency which the signal can be returned back into the ground. Okay, you understood? So after hitting the ionized layer, it has to be coming back to the ground. Okay, next, the highest frequency which is reflected from the ionosphere to the receiver is called as critical frequency. The highest frequency which is reflected from the ionosphere, okay, is called critical frequency. So and Fc is given as 9 into square root of n max. So what is n max? Fc is critical frequency and n max is maximum electron density per meter cube. Okay, and the relation between maximum usable frequency and the critical frequency is MUF equal to critical frequency divided by cos theta, or simply 1 by cos theta is secant theta. So you can write it as maximum usable frequency equal to Fc into secant theta. Okay, actually this critical frequency varies depending on several atmospheric conditions. So if it is daylight, if it is night, so it varies. Okay, the critical frequency Fc will vary according to the atmosphere. Okay, and lowest usable frequency, it is defined as frequency at which signal falls below the minimum strength required for satisfactory reception. So the minimum frequency, okay, minimum frequency of the signal, electromagnetic signal, below the satisfactory reception, like the maximum range it can travel in the space. Okay, so as we decrease the frequency, what happens? The range which can cover on the earth can be increased. Okay, so next, if the lowest usable frequency, if it is if you want the very less frequency which is below LUF, okay, you have to take gain of 10 dB, which is to be made to decrease lowest usable frequency to 2 megahertz. Why 2 megahertz? It goes into the ground wave or surface wave propagation. Okay, so this can be achieved by several methods. Okay, you can use increasing the transmitting power. Okay, improving the antennas like this. Okay, next one is very important, skip distance. Okay, I'll show you the video also. Okay, small video which you can understand this skip distance and skip zone a little. Okay, so what is skip distance? Okay, the minimum distance on the earth from transmitter to receiver, okay, after hitting the ionosphere, okay, after which it reaches the receiver. So it may receive directly on a single shot, or it may hit the surface of the earth and once again it reflects back after amplifying the surface and receives at the receiver. Okay, it is like two reflections, two waves. Okay, so and skip distance, if it is a flat earth, if we consider the earth as flat, okay, the skip distance is given by d skip equal to 2h into square root of f MUF by fc whole square minus 1. What is f MUF? Maximum usable frequency, and fc is critical frequency whole square minus 1. What is h? Is height at which reflection happens. Okay, height from the earth surface to the reflecting point. Okay, next one is optimum working frequency. So what is optimum working frequency? Is it is the it is predicted to be a particular period of time over a path. Okay, am I audible? Okay, so you can see the skip distance and skip zone in a video, small
the
video.
skywave propagation for a fixed frequency, the shortest distance between the point of transmission and the point of reception along the surface is known as the skip distance. When the angle of incidence is large for the ray R1 as shown in the visual, the skywave returns to the ground at a long distance from the transmitter. As this angle is slowly reduced, naturally the wave turns closer and closer to the transmitter as shown by the rays R2 and R3. If the angle of incidence is now made significantly less than that of ray R3, the ray will be very close to the normal to be returned to the earth. If the angle of incidence is reduced further, the radio waves penetrate through the layer as shown by the rays R4 and R5. For a particular angle of incidence, the distance between the point of transmission and the point of reception is minimum. The minimum distance between the transmitter and the ray like R3, which strikes the earth, is called as the skip distance. The region between the point where there is no reception of ground waves and the point where the sky wave is received is known as skip zone. In the skip zone, there is no reception at all.
So did you understand what is skip zone? Skip distance is the distance between the transmitter and receiver of the first wave, okay, of the first wave with the lowest angle possible. Then if you go on decreasing the angle, which means if you go on increasing the frequency, it penetrates into the space. It will not reflect back after hitting the ionosphere. Okay, whereas skip zone is, if you can consider ground wave propagation, we can use still 2 megahertz, right? It can travel up to around 100 kilometers like that. Okay, beyond which the wave cannot be transmitted. It will be completely attenuated because of induced energy by the Earth's surface itself, which will be opposite polarity of the original signal. Okay, that will be completely cancelled as the distance increases. So from that point where ground wave propagation is not possible, from that point to the point of receiving of the signal in skywave propagation is the skip zone, where you cannot receive any signal either through ground wave propagation or skywave propagation. Okay, that is called skip zone. And skywave propagation, you need to know a little. It is nothing but the wave gets reflected back after hitting the ionospheric layers. So we can see the layers here. What are the layers present is D, E, F layers, which is also called as F1, or F can be split into F1 and F2 sometimes, but we'll generally call it as F layer. So in D layer, MUF, maximum usable frequency, is 16 megahertz. Okay. In E layer, you can use maximum 28 megahertz, and F layer you can use 16 megahertz. Okay. Similarly, when you go to OWF, optimum working frequency, in D layer it is 13.6 megahertz, and E layer 23.8 megahertz, and F layer 13.6 megahertz. Okay. So that is all about layers. Okay. So which frequencies we can use in skywave propagation? Above 330 megahertz, above 3 megahertz, below 300 megahertz, because till 2 megahertz we can use ground wave or surface wave propagation, or it can go till 3 megahertz maximum. Okay, worst case. After 3 megahertz, it is called as skywave propagation. You can use skywave propagation. So that's why the frequencies are around 16, 28, 16 megahertz. So you can see the different layers present in ionosphere. Okay. So if I told you, it depends on the temperature of the Earth's surface. Okay. So if it is a winter day, okay, little bit temperatures will be less, right? When you compare with summer day, the winter day will be temperature less. So you will be getting D layer till 75 kilometers, E layer 125 kilometers, something like that. So from 200 kilometers onwards, you'll be getting F layer till 225. From 225 to 400 kilometers, you'll be getting F2 layer. Whereas compare this with a summer day, so you can see the F2 layer is going far beyond 400 kilometers also. Okay, if it is a summer day, you can transmit the signals with higher frequencies also. It will go to the maximum range beyond 400 kilometers also and reflects back. Okay, whereas in winter and summer night time, the temperature will be less, the ionization also will be less. That's why the rays which are traveled into the space will be reflected back below 400 itself. Okay, but the D layer and F1 layer are completely eliminated. Okay, only we'll have E layer and F layer. That's all. Okay. Next, as I said, we'll be discussing a problem. So this is the problem which we have seen in two ways, like 2 marks. For 2 marks, same question is asked, and for 5 marks also same question is asked. So which is very simple, pretty simple. Find the maximum range of tropospheric transmission, for which the height of transmitting antenna is 100 feet and that of receiving antenna is 50 feet. So the simple formula which you can use is Dmax in miles, okay, is nothing but square root of 2 times transmitting antenna height in feet plus square root of 2 times receiving antenna height in feet. Okay, if the question is not given in feet, okay, you can convert it using the conversions which I have mentioned here. 1 feet equal to 0.3048 meters, and if it is not given in miles also, okay, if any factor is not given, if you want to find height of the transmitting or height of the receiving antenna, if distance is given, 1 mile is can be converted into 1.609 kilometers. Okay, let us see this problem. So height of the transmitting antenna is given as 100 feet. So 2 into 100 plus 2 into height of the receiving antenna is given as 50 feet here. So this 2 into 50, 100. So if you take root 100 common, root 100 is nothing but 10 into root 2 plus 1. Root 2 is 1.414 plus 1 is 2.414. 2.414 into 10, 24.14 miles. Okay, you understood? So this is all about that problem. And next one is multi-hop propagation. So what is multi-hop propagation? As I told you, so the range of the receiving antenna, if it is very far from transmitting antenna, if it is very far from transmitting antenna, what we'll do is we'll take a signal which is reflected back from ionosphere. If it is reaching here, let us say the receiver is here somewhere at the last and transmitter is here. After first hop or first reception of the signal, what we will do here is we will take this signal, we will amplify this signal again and resend it back to the ionosphere. So after amplification, it goes to the ionosphere again and it reflects back, and still it is not reaching the receiver. Receiver is somewhere here. So what we'll do here is once again we'll arrange a hop. Okay, so where we can amplify the signal, received signal here again and transmit it into the space. So we can do this as the range of the transmitting and receiving antenna is far apart. We can use this multi-hop propagation. Draw this diagram and explain a little. That is enough. Okay, this is what about multi-hop propagation. Is it clear? To cover more area, we can use this multi-hop propagation. So we have to see one more question which is asked, which is not that much important. So the line of sight propagation is nothing but, we all know what is line of sight propagation. I'll explain again in skywave and space wave propagation, because so the line of sight is, for example, let us take a flight traveling in the space, okay, which is in the ionization layer itself. Okay, it should be of line of sight, like we have to be able to see the flight from ground surface, right? So from here to that flight, we can transmit a signal and receive the signal in the same way to the ground. Okay, that if you can see from here, and if you can see the same flight from 15 kilometers apart, so the 15 kilometers on the ground surface is called line of sight propagation. Okay, so there are effect of Earth's curvature. So as I told you in ground propagation, ground wave propagation and surface wave propagation, what is the effect of Earth's curvature? If the Earth is having several deflections, okay, it hits the ground and reflects back, or it goes along the Earth's curvature. That is what effect of Earth's curvature. Okay, did you understand? So that is all about today's session. And what is that Earth's curvature? Effect of Earth's curvature is, so if Earth is having some buildings like this, okay, so the electromagnetic wave traveling on the ground surface will automatically go beyond the building and comes back into the ground level again. So that is what effect of Earth's curvature. Earth's curvature will be affecting the transmission of the signal. Hope you understood everything. Okay. Any doubts? You can ask me now by unmuting the call.